Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Princeton Mayor and Council, July 27th, 2021. And we'll start with our meeting statement.
Notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act and state regulations governing remote public meetings, including the time, date, and location of the meeting, and clear and concise instructions to the public for accessing the meeting and making comments. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you, Dawn. Can we have a roll call?
Ms. Perrone-Lambros?
Here.
Ms. Niedergang? Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Fraga? Mr. Williamson?
Here.
Ms. Sachs? Mayor Frida?
Here. Thank you. I'm going to assume there's no announcements or reports since we just did them last night. Okay. Let's move to public comments for items not on the agenda. Any member of the public have an item they want to bring up that's not on the agenda? All right, not seeing any hands up. We'll close that section of the meeting. And now let's go to our ordinance public hearing. Ordinance 2021-20, an ordinance by the municipality of Princeton, amending the SC Shopping Center District permitted uses, amending the schedule of zoning regulations in section 10B-246 of the Code of the Township of Princeton, New Jersey, 1968, amending the off-street parking requirements for retail, supermarkets, and shopping centers, amending the parking area screening standards, amending the sign standards, amending the buffer standards, and amending the lighting standards. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Before you do that, were you going to announce the amendment of the agenda?
Oh, I am terribly sorry. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
All right, so let me just pause where I am. The original agenda that went out, we had to add one more thing. So there's a resolution on tonight's agenda, which is authorizing an alcoholic beverage license. So anyway, that'll be a resolution after we get done this public hearing on this ordinance. Sorry. Thank you, Dawn.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. So David, I think you made the motion?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Second? Okay, Dwayne's got the second. He just beat out Michelle, so good for you, Dwayne. Very quick.
Thank you.
So before we
Don't
go
do
to
that every day. So
yeah, really. Before we go to the public, any council questions, comments on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Michael, I know I would just love to better understand what we're doing here. Is there a concise way to say what we're doing without being going long?
Probably not, but I'll give it a shot. Usually what we do is we've had our land use attorney that's with us this evening, Frank Regan, start off, and then I'll take up the details of what's being proposed.
Okay.
Sure. Well, first off, the ordinance, good evening all. The ordinance is in furtherance of implementing the Princeton's affordable housing settlement for the PCS site in order to facilitate the Avalon Bay development at that site. The proposed zoning amendments to be considered this evening for adoption are to permit the relocation of the Walgreens to a new site so that the project can proceed while minimizing the number of variances that will be necessary. So, and I think Michael said this the last time, and he can probably say it again more eloquently than I will, but essentially we're viewing this as sort of an interim or temporary ordinance to allow those applications to proceed. And then we anticipate, based on discussions with Edens, that ultimately a redevelopment plan will be adopted for the shopping center site that will incorporate many of the provisions that are contained in this ordinance.
Thank you, Frank.
Great. So as Frank said, this is an amendment to the SC shopping center zone of the former township. And it's basically to bring the shopping center back into conformance, to address some nonconformities as it's been impacted by our ongoing affordable housing program, these different projects that we have moving forward. So it involves both a new permitted use for the shopping center district, which I'll mention in a moment, as well as changes to some bulk standards, which are design standards. The permitted use that will now be, as part of this amendment, will now be permitted at the shopping center would be for a drive-through pharmacy, because what's proposed is a new Walgreens in a freestanding site closer to North Harrison. So that's that. As far as the bulk standard changes that are a part of this proposed ordinance, they're basically just to again bring the shopping center into conformance as it's impacted by the new developments around it. And for instance, the minimum lot size would go from 25 to 22 acres. Minimum lot width would go from 1,600 feet to 1,500 feet. Maximum building heights permitted would go from a maximum of 38 feet to 45 feet. And it's amending setback requirements for the various buildings as they impact the adjoining residential areas. And this would not include the on-site inclusionary residential, so that it can be integrated into the overall shopping center development. There's also a changing of the off-street retail parking requirement, which would now go from 1 space per 275 square feet of gross floor area to 300. It's not a major change. It's just to bring, again, the shopping center into conformance. And it should be more than adequate parking for the entire complex. The other changes involve parking area screening, landscaping, shade tree requirements, and they're all minor changes. There's also one that's kind of interesting. It's a change to what signage is permitted, because as you all know right now, the entrances to the shopping center just say the name of the shopping center itself. And this change would allow the addition to that of not only identifying the shopping center, but also to identify the new residential component that will be built on the site. Because that's very important as far as people knowing where they live and people coming to look at the residences, possibly to move there or whatever. So, or visitors as well. So that's very important. There's other requirements that are being tweaked here, such as buffer requirements. There's very specific ones for where the complex is near existing residential areas. So that'll be to protect those areas and visually screen the shopping center from adjoining properties, and lighting standards. And basically the change in lighting is to reflect use of the existing 25-foot poles, and takes into account light intensity and screening from adjoining properties. So that's sort of an overview of the changes. It's really just, again, to bring the shopping center into conformity while we're going through this process of it's really an evolution of the entire area with the new residential components that are coming online.
Thank you, Michael. Are there any members of the public that want to comment or ask a question on this ordinance?
No hands raised, Mayor.
Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public part of the hearing and go to a roll call vote on this.
Ms. Perone-Lambros,
Yes.
Ms. Niedergang, Mr. Cohen,
Yes.
Ms. Fraga, Mr. Williamson,
Yes.
Ms. Sachs.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Frank, for tuning in. Michael, thank
Hey,
you very
Mayor,
much.
and everyone.
Have a good evening.
Hi, Frank.
Okay, next up is Resolution 21-261, authorizing alcoholic beverage licenses for the licensing period July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. And Dawn, I think these are all licenses really approved by the state, and we pretty much.
Yes. Yep. They met all the standards for the renewal.
Is there a motion by someone on council? Thank you, David. Is there a second? Thank you, Dwayne. Any question or comment? All right, seeing none. All in favor? Please. I'm sorry, David.
Actually, I'm sorry. I don't know if anyone will know the answer to this, but it sounds like this is going through June of 2022. Is
Right,
that?
June 30th. Yeah, June 30th of 2022.
And so the question I have is whether, with the anticipated new construction and potential population growth in town, there's some expectation that eventually we will perhaps get an additional liquor license. I don't really expect it to happen before June of 2022, but is there potential to add additional liquor licenses separate from this resolution if we were to become eligible?
I was, Dawn, I don't know if you want to answer that. If not, I'll jump in.
Yeah, we would probably have to see what like the new population count is, because prior to consolidation, the borough was actually probably over its max. I think the township was too. So moving forward with consolidation, we're already at the maxed number that we had, and some of them were just like kept because they were grandfathered in. So we kind of were already at our max point, but with the increased population, I suppose it could be possible.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the question I was asking was more of a mechanical one, not whether we would qualify, but should we qualify, can additional licenses be acknowledged or implemented before the end of the term of this?
Yes, I think it's analysis to, sorry, it's an analogy. Oh, geez, I can't even speak tonight. To, somebody sells a liquor license in the middle of their license period, you approve the transfer from one to another. So those mechanisms exist.
Thanks.
No, thank you. Any other questions? All right, if not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's everyone. Okay.
I was going to say cheers.
Cheers. There you go.
Good one, Mia.
I don't have a
Here's to that
water,
resolution.
but what is it? Anyway, David, do you want to make a motion?
I do. I would like to move to adjourn.
There you go. Is there a second?
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle. All in favor, say aye.
Wayne.
Aye.
You did.
Aye.
All right, 13 minutes.
All right.
You're right.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Aye.
Night.